It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L.A.R.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Losses Above Replacement, the greatest baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Mathias Altman-Kursaki, and with me, as always, we have my amazing co-hosts, Alex Clark and Ryan Splash Potts. Gentlemen, first things first, as we begin every show, how are you doing on this fine Thursday evening?
Well, as people can see on the YouTube, make sure you go and give subscribe on Losses Above Replacement on
like
YouTube
too.
here. Give a like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff there. I'm in a new space here. And when I say that, I mean purely decorative because this is still my room that I'm at. But for the people that are on YouTube, you can see I painted on my walls. And because I painted my walls, I've decided to do literally everything differently. I got a new bed. I got all this stuff taken care of, and we're still getting it all put together. So for a little bit of even more fun, I'm recording this on my bed. So that my bed is my stand for today.
It's actually not a bad setup, though. You know,
Look, you got to make
like
it work, right? Yeah.
Ingenuity. Mac, where do you sit when you record the podcast?
At my desk.
Okay.
In my childhood bedroom.
Okay. Because I sit on my bed. So, like, sometimes when it's like 2-hour recordings, especially when I did the show with Jack, that's not great for the gluteus maximus.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I'd be doing a lot better if the earlier baseball game today went just a couple inches different. I don't think Marchand got hit by a pitch, but it was too close to it was too close to overturn. I don't know if the pitch that struck out Eli White was a strike. Probably too close to take, but you know I've seen that be a ball before. I've seen it be a strike before, but you know whatever. So that was a very sad way to lose to the Philadelphia Phillies. And AJ Smith-Shawver might have, we'll talk about that later. So it's not a great day right now.
Yeah, my team allowed their most runs of the season yesterday, and it was to the White Sox, which I'll give the White Sox credit for a second. They've taken a big step forward from what they were last year. They look like they're playing a lot looser. I think Will Venable seems like the right guy to lead that team. So that was interesting. My basketball team committed 4 fouls in 12 seconds somehow the other day and are about to play an elimination game. I'm not feeling great about that, if I'm being completely honest.
It's called basketball, not football.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Well, I don't know. Ask the referees if you even breathe on your opponent, it's a foul.
I mean, sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's what's going on.
Do we have now at this point a trajectory of our teams just losing to bad teams right now? Because yesterday my Mariners got absolutely spanked by the Nationals.
Yeah.
9-0.
Hey man, hey, respect the Nats.
No, I do. But here's the thing: watching James Wood play, the dude is insane.
He's amazing. Yeah,
the dude is so good at baseball.
He's a freak, really.
Yeah,
and Abrams has had a great start to this season.
Abrams had a good start here, and also seeing Hassel getting started too has also been nice. So,
there's a non-zero chance the Nats will be in third place when you hear this recording in the morning. Now the Braves are up 4-0 right now, so maybe not. They did lose the first game, but. Hopefully they don't lose the second game and make me really sad.
If the Nats were in any other division, they'd be a lot more competitive. Mm-hmm. They're a young,
in the Central, and they're
solid club. Yeah, no, they honestly.
Mackenzie Gore leads the majors in strikeouts.
Yeah, Mackenzie Gore is
just not
He's good.
fair.
Yeah,
I watched I'm gonna watch a pitch today, and I'm not looking forward to watching.
Those are Spencer Strider strikeout per nines.
Yeah,
I'm like 13.4. That's
nuts. Also, George Kirby's getting lit up, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's tough when guys come back from injuries because, I remember last year Garrett Cole when he first came back was really struggling, and we were like, "Oh God, what's going on with Garrett Cole?" And then he pitched really well for the last 2 months of the season. So it's always tough to gauge. And speaking of which, we're going to talk about a guy who began this year on the injured list, and today has been sent to a new home We were talking about Alexis Diaz, former All-Star 2023 closer for 2023 All-Star closer for the Reds, has been traded to the Dodgers. It kind of caught me by surprise. I know that Diaz began this year on the IL and struggled pretty badly. And when he came back, wasn't throwing strikes, and he was struggling to throw strikes in the minors this year too. But it was a straight up 1-for-1 deal for Mike Villani, 13th round pick last year by the Dodgers. So what are your guys' reaction to this deal? Because personally, I think they may have jumped the gun on this trade.
Oh, absolutely. Like that was my first thought on this was that the Reds absolutely jumped the gun here. Like, I mean, I can understand, feeling like a little bit down on Diaz, especially after everything that has happened there, but you still have club control on him for a few years. And at that point, what are you expecting to do here? Like, are you just going to say, all right, we've lost faith, ship him off for nothing? Because I'm no disrespect to, to Vianney, but a 13th round draft pick, essentially 22-year-old pitcher with decent velo here. Like, Alexis Diaz has at least proved himself at the MLB level, right? He's an all-star. He's got amazing velo on his fastball. He's got good life on it. I think that this was a really bad move by the Reds. I mean, and the Dodgers definitely capitalized. Don't get me wrong here. Like, the Dodgers right now, their bullpen has been honestly pretty bad so far this year. And it's been like,
their one weakness.
Yeah. So this is them. I mean, credit to them. They made a really good deal on their end here. They gave up a prospect that's, to be honest, I don't think any of us had ever even heard of going into today. And they're now getting someone that is going to compete to be their closer. Because right now, currently, Tanner Scott's their de facto closer, but let's be real.
He's struggled his last few outings.
He's struggled.
Yeah.
So I think at this point now, this was the Reds hitting the panic button way too early, and the Dodgers basically being the first team to pick up the phone. And you know what? Hey, that's going to be the Dodgers' gain and everyone else's problem for a little bit, especially if they can bring like what we saw back in 2023 out of Diaz.
I'm not opposed to the Reds moving on. Diaz was he was okay last year, like a 4 ERA in that ballpark, a 1.13 ERA plus. If you're a saves person, he did have 28 saves, and he's up to 75 for his career. But the FIP ballooned to over 4.5. His home run rate wasn't crazy. It's just the walk rate. He was walking 5 guys per 9. He's had a career walk rate over 12.5% every single season. And his strikeout rate dipped last year from 30% in his 2023 All-Star season to under 23%. That is not getting it done. And it's hard to be a closer that has a huge walk rate and a low or middling, frankly, strikeout rate. It's one thing when you can be like his brother, Edwin, and you walk the world, but you strike everybody out. If you walk a bunch of people, you need to have some way to erase the batted ball luck, essentially. So Devin Williams walks everybody and their brother, but good Devin Williams strikes out 35-40% of the batters he faces. Right? This is a starter, but Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, you can have higher walk rates when you strike people out. And if Diaz is going to walk the world and have middling strikeout rate, don't really love having that pitcher in that ballpark because, a fly ball is a 3-run homer if you allow a couple walks. And Diaz has been pretty good at limiting, contact. I will say last year, a 2.06 expected batting average. That's pretty good. A 3.70 expected ERA, even though better than his actual ERA. But there are some worrying signs. And I think it's fine for the Reds to move off and go in a different direction and look for different options at the back of their bullpen, as they have been doing this season. And I think this is a solid enough move for the Dodgers. It's very buy low on a previous All-Star, a guy with 75 career saves, a guy who has gotten big outs at the end of games. Not necessarily for winning organization, but neither here nor there. And I don't mind this move for either team. I think this is a a perfectly reasonable trade. You get a closer at probably the lowest his value is going to be, and he's going to a better organization for pitching development. And the Reds get something of a flyer. And, they've already figured out, Emilio Pagan leads the league in games finished. He has 21 already. He has 13 saves. His ERA is nothing stellar. It's right where Diaz's was last year. Tony Santillan's been fine. Graham Ashcraft, who I like as a bullpen option, has been fine. Scott Barlow has been fine. Taylor Rogers has been pretty good. So they've gotten it together in the bullpen, even without Alexis Diaz.
Yeah, and really, my concern here is also, so Diaz began the year on the IL, but his fastball velocity plummeted in his time in the majors. He was, he's always been like a mid to high 90s guy. At his best season in 2022, he averaged around 96 on his fastball, and this year he's averaging 93. That is, couple that with 5 walks and 6 innings at the big league level. Then you go down to the minors. He has 12 walks and 13 2/3 innings. There are some red flags here. All right. But, you also look at the last 2 seasons in the majors. 2023, he was great until September. And this was when the Reds were in the thick of the playoff race. He allowed 9 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings and walked 8 batters in that time span. And then last year, he didn't have a very good first half, but he was pretty solid in the second half, including 9 scoreless outings in September. So it's kind of been, the last 2 seasons, he looked tired by the end of the season in 23. And last year he looked like he was figuring something out. But then he gets injured in spring training, has to begin the year on the IL. He loses his closer's role. It was just a lot working against him. The one issue I have with this deal is that he, the Reds dealt him while his value was lowest. I thought
that's my biggest issue here.
I thought maybe they would deal him away after the 2022 season. He had that excellent breakout season. So they're kind of left getting the short end of the stick. I think the Dodgers, though, they got a 28-year-old who's been good in the past. I could see them finding a way to make this work.
My main issue when it comes to this trade here, because I agree, I feel like this is something that we can be looking at this at the end of the year, being like, oh yeah, this worked out well for all parties. But at the same time, like, I could also see this just being the move that at the end of the year, we're like, why did the Reds do this? Because again, I feel like this is, like you said, this was a buy low move for the Dodgers overall, right? Like, this was not something that they're risking really anything on, and they're still getting a I'm not going to say fully proven closer because he has had his issues here, but you're getting a closer that has, again, at least a good amount of experience, and you have club control over him. Like, that's the biggest issue for me, is the club control right now. You sold very, very low on a guy that I think a lot of organizations would have taken a flyer or at least given away more. And if you're the Dodgers, you just made a great play. And I think the only reason that really makes sense to me, in the very least, if you're the Reds for making this move, is that you're trying to put your full faith in Emilio Pagan here. If Pagan has been doing as well as we have been seeing so far right now with his games finished and all that stuff here, this is the Reds telling him, look, we're giving you the reins here. We are letting you be the 9th inning guy here. There's not going to be any debates on this. You're going to be the 9th inning guy. Let's see what you do with it. And personally, I like Emilio Pagan here. Decent pitcher overall, has the best walkout music. I do not care. Wait till you go and look up Max List later on. But I don't know if it's going to be correct because he is number 1 on that. Kingdom by Downstate, great song. But at the same time, like, I think that this, again, you said this at the beginning of all this. They jumped the shark a bit on this, I think. I think that you could have traded him either later and gotten more value. You could have traded him earlier and gotten more value. You chose now, and it feels like it was the worst time to make the play. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, the club control, I mean, yeah, if say he had figured something out this summer, he probably could have gotten a decent turn. I understand, though, the Dodgers have a number of injuries. I mean, they have obviously Scott is healthy, but he's kind of underperformed lately. Kirby Yates was their other big bullpen addition. He's hurt. Michael Kopech hasn't pitched this year, and he was a big part of last year's team. And then you have like all their starters are hurt. Sasaki, Glasnow, Snell. Like they have so many pitching injuries right now. They just got Kershaw back, but it's a reasonable move for the Dodgers. I'll say that much. But
oh yeah, no, they're the ultimate winners in this.
Yeah. And speaking of injuries, we do have a couple of pitching injuries, unfortunately, to go over. First, Ronel Blanco, the Astros, is out for the year, and he's getting elbow surgery. And then Splash, unfortunately, AJ Smith-Shawver felt a pop in his elbow, which is normally not a good sign. Spencer Strider was the one who pointed it out to Brian Snitker, from my understanding, that something was wrong. I know that he'd been drilled in the calf like a play earlier, but I guess I'll go to Splash here first. I mean, what are your thoughts on these injuries?
Well, I'll start with Blanco because we know what's going on here. It stinks. You know, he was a big breakout last year. He was one of the best pitchers in the American League for most of the season, and he threw a no-hitter early on, and it stinks that he can't follow up his, real breakout season. Last year, he led the American League in hits per nine. He eclipsed 162 innings. Probably a shame that he didn't get any Cy Young consideration. Not saying he should have won it over Skubal, but any down ballot, like he didn't get a vote. 4.5 WAR on Baseball Reference, a sub-3 ERA. That's a great season. And he followed it up, and he's been perfectly adequate. Of ERA just above 4, that's fine. A 96 ERA plus, that's, we're still early enough in the season that 1 or 2 starts. If he went out and had, 6 innings of 1-run ball, he'd be over 100 ERA plus. So it's a shame. Now you're asking more from Framber Valdez, who's been really good. Hunter Brown's been one of the best pitchers in the American League. Hayden Wisniewski, Lance McCullers, just the usual suspects there. Good to see Lance McCullers back, by the way. But AJ Smith-Shawver, we don't know like the severity of it. But a pop and elbow or pop and shoulder, pop arm, whatever. You don't want anything. A pitcher to say the word pop other than a pop out.
The word pop is, in my personal opinion, right, the worst word that you can use in baseball here when referring to a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even what is a good one that you could use for, like, I don't know, like they really pop out to me, they really pop the eye. I don't know.
Yeah, those.
And
yeah,
I'm grasping.
Or they force a lot of pop outs. That's.
Yeah,
exactly.
They force a lot of pop outs. Which even then, a lot of times that's a bad thing nowadays because we're still like so many people are trying to get more to those ground ball outs here because a lot of the times with these high launch angles here, a pop out a lot of times turns into a home run.
Well, okay. Ask Ozzy Albies. A lot of pop outs does not equal a lot of homers, but regardless.
But I mean, to be fair, you have to have a little bit of strength in order to do that, which Albies
he has some
speed.
Yeah,
he has speed. Yeah, he's fast.
Okay. With Smith-Shawver, it's just heartbreaking. Like I said last week, he's younger than Paul Skeens. He is a traditional pitching prospect. He dabbled in 23, dabbled in 24, pitched a little bit in the playoffs even. Like the Braves threw him out. Now this was like Chris Sale got hurt and you burned Ronaldo Lopez in the Mets game to make the playoffs. So you were kind of forced into starting either Smith-Shawver or Ian Anderson. But like Smith-Shawver is a guy that you could really begin to root for. He debuted at 20 and year 3, he was really making progress. Now the advanced stats, the the Baseball Savant page is not great. I'll be the first to admit that, but he had good results. He kind of got blown up a couple weeks ago. Then wasn't great today, particularly. But I mean, you could really see it. Is this like splitter that sometimes like a changeup? It's very, to me, it's a lot like what Roki Sasaki throws as a splitter. Just that like really dances a lot, and he doesn't not exactly a knuckleball, but more movement than you'd expect from a splitter or a changeup. So just filthy stuff there. And he's a guy you could really root for, and that's the bummer about this, that you've had other pitchers, Strider, for example, Schwellenbach, for example, they just kind of showed up in the major leagues. They popped onto the scene, if you will. And that wasn't like much of an arc. It was Strider made a couple relief appearances and then was one of the best starters in baseball immediately. Schwellenbach comes up from Double-A, makes a couple starts, and then after a Boston blow up, he was unbelievable the rest of the season. And I picked him to win the American, or the American League would be a wild one, the National League Cy Young. Smith-Shawver has grown and grown, and you can see the development. You can see he's throwing more strikes, and the strikeout rate was improving. The walk rate was a little lower than it was last year, and just progress and progress and progress. And it's now going to be taken away, and that, in all likelihood, at least, taken away. And it sucks. But I guess that's baseball right there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because, like you were saying, I thought this was the year Smith-Shawver was breaking out, really. And he's rookie eligible too, so I thought he had a strong case to be rookie of the year, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Another Brave might be on that list.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, Blanco too. I mean, the Astros, it feels like the last few years have had so many guys have arm injuries. I mean, they had Christian Javier, Lance McCullers obviously just came back, like you said. Framber Valdez has had his arm troubles, and now they lose another guy. And Blanco was a great story last year. I mean, he's a 30-year-old finally getting his chance. He threw a no-hitter. And yeah, now he's out. And Smith-Shawver, I mean, especially with the start that the Braves have gotten off to, it's, it's really, really unfortunate for the team and for him, really. So yeah, that's.
It's just kind of sucks overall because, no matter what team you root for, I don't think you should ever root for an injury. I just think that, again, these are human people.
Oh, yeah, no, it's terrible.
Regardless of, your team affiliation and all this kind of stuff, it's really just not cool at that point. But, so let's talk about it then. So, when it comes to Blanco, right, this is, I think, a big hit for the Astros here, who already right now are competing in a tough AL West here. And pitching has been one of the things that they've been kind of, let's say, lacking right now, especially starting pitching with them getting Lance McCullers back, and Lance McCullers hasn't done so great in his first bid here. So now you're looking to your guy that did exceptionally well last year on Blanco, the changeup specialist, and now he's gone. So now for the Astros, you really have to figure out here what you're going to be doing, especially since, the rest of the teams in the American League have really been figuring out their offense here. And then now moving on to the Braves again, it just sucks because AJSS has been so much fun to watch too. And again, like you said, rookie eligible, he was going to make a case for the Rookie of the Year candidacy if he kept on pitching like he's been doing. So it just sucks to see, especially a young guy like that, get that kind of injury. I've had that pop in my elbow, man. And I got to tell you, it hurts like a son of a gun. Here, I had it when I was doing a throw from first over to third during a baseball tryout in high school. Junior high school. And I got to tell you, my arm has never been the same since then. So it can really mess you up.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in baseball, and I remember there was, I had a guy who was believe he was a first baseman come up to me and say that he couldn't really throw because he had a partially torn UCL from something that happened in college, and this was a few years after the fact. And yeah, I've, even in my non-baseball career, I've had shoulder injuries and arm injuries. It's a pretty bad feeling.
Yeah.
And normally, I mean, I remember I once had it where it was my neck. I felt something snap in my neck, randomly during practice, and I could not move it. It was just.
I had that one time with my jaw. I had that one time with my jaw actually. When I was yeah, and it got locked for a little bit. I was stuck this for a while, and I finally kind of forced it, but my jaw was in pain for months after that. So
yeah, no.
Look, these injuries are again,
they're
all
brutal,
us
man.
all us fans see is this person's on the IL. What we don't see is how much pain that human being is in and how much more pain they're going to be in during the rehab process. So again, sincerely to AJ Smith-Shawver and to Ronald Blanco, I hope for a speedy recovery
Yeah,
here.
seriously.
It's the road to recovery through rehab is one that it feels like you're walking on thumbtacks the entire time.
Yeah, and you saw with Strider, he came back and left after one start because he had a hamstring injury, and there's just always something of a setback or different Braves young pitcher. Ian Anderson popped his Achilles, or not Ian Anderson, Soroka popped his Achilles. Another
Oh
poppy
yeah, I
one
remember
here.
that.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
I remember
his
that,
first day out of a walking boot the next summer, popped his Achilles
Popped it
again.
again, yeah.
And it's like he had an ERA comparable to Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah,
as a
he almost
rookie.
yeah.
He
got second in rookie of the year voting.
to freaking Pete
Alonso,
Alonso breaking the
yeah.
rookie home run record. Like
53
any other
home
year, he
runs.
wins it by a mile, but he
Yeah.
happens.
It feels kind of weird right now. Again, going back to this, we were talking about the rookie of the year stuff here. Go back to last year. We're talking about that year of huge rookie years. And now we have this year, and it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, well, I remember because that was the year Tatis debuted also.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wow.
and if he didn't get hurt, he would have, I mean, who knows? He could have even beaten Alonso. Like,
Maybe.
but I mean, what's it called? The Orioles went through this last year too. Remember, John Means came back, and then he had to get his second Tommy John. I think Jameson Taillon's had it multiple times. Like,
Yep.
I mean, Jacob DeGrom, he needed Tommy
Evaldi's
John.
had it multiple times, right? Too.
Who?
Evaldi.
Oh yeah, Evaldi's had it multiple times too. And so DeGrom got it, I think, right before the Mets drafted him, and then he got it last two springs ago. So yeah, that's the other thing is that once you injure it once, you have to be very, very careful with it.
We've talked about this before.
I remember thinking back on I remember thinking back on Matt Harvey. The Mets had to be super cautious with him.
That's a name I've heard in a minute.
Steven Strasburg. I mean, I remember the Nats had to shut him down and lost him for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, so it's tough. But yeah, I really do hope these guys have a speedy recovery and do recover to their fullest.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we've been talking about it a lot already. So let's jump into it. We're going to go through our awards now that we're at the end of May. And we're going to start with the Rookie of the Year. And, since we've been talking about the National League, let's just start with the National League. National League Rookie of the Year. I'll get started here. And the field isn't that deep, if I'm being completely honest.
Like we were just talking about, yeah.
And so I'm going to go with the National League, at least position player, F4 leader, Drake Baldwin. He's really surprised me, if I'm being completely honest, because they have an established catcher in Sean Murphy in Atlanta. I mean, Baldwin, he's only got 98 official at-bats, 105 plate appearances, but batting .337 with a .912 OPS and entering today's play with 5 homers and 4 doubles and 15 RBIs. I mean, he's not striking out a lot. He's drawing enough walks, I think, and he's hitting the ball very hard. 92.5 miles per hour is his average exit velocity, 57.8 hard hit rate. I'd like to see that ground ball rate come down a little bit, but for a catcher who I think should be getting everyday playing time, I mean, he's created a good problem in Atlanta. I'll say that much. And that's a lineup when they're when they're clicking, it's a very dangerous lineup. And Baldwin just sort of adds to that depth and makes the lineup longer. So I think right now, honestly, I can't even say it's that close for me. I think Baldwin's the clear number one.
So I'll be a bit of a contrarian here. I was going to say Baldwin, but I remembered one more thing, and that is that he still is currently splitting time here.
That's what makes it tough, yes.
And that's what's going to make it hard in the rest of the season if he isn't given, the starting spot, or if he isn't, at the very least playing DH every day that he's not catching, right? And for that purpose here, I'm not going to go with Baldwin. I'm going to go with the man right below him, Agustin Ramirez. I think that Ramirez, again, he's one of those players that he is so impressive, but in bunches, right? He's going to go a good period where he'll hit 4 or 5 home runs and then just do nothing for a bit. His name will just kind of go away again. But I think overall right now, you take a look at him, and the biggest thing going for him is that he is the everyday player. Right now, he is the player that's going to be playing a little bit more here. Baldwin, I think, overall is the better player and would be the better rookie, but Augustine Ramirez is the starter.
Yeah, this is a really brutal spot the Braves are in. They, frankly, a great spot to be in, actually. I think any team would love to have two catchers that are playing well and have a real DH option and have an option. Like, they just have options, and it is unfortunate they haven't tried him out in left field yet. I'm waiting for it. William Contreras played a little bit of left. Austin Riley played left field. I'm just waiting for it one of these days. But that's why you bring in Alex Verdugo, I guess. I don't know. So the problem, the Drake Baldwin problem, the reason why he's not, in all likelihood, minus money to win the award is Sean Murphy's been good this season. He has a 116 OPS plus. He has 8 home runs. That is entering play today, third on the team behind Olsen and Ozuna. He walks. 315 on base is nothing special, but it's right around where you need it to be, and it's better than some alternatives. So Sean Murphy has been as advertised. He's been a good hitter, and he brings his usual plus defense. DH is blocked by Marcell Ozuna, who walks all the time, has a 425 on base entering play today. He's second place on the team in home runs, 900 OPS, depending on what day you're looking at Baseball Reference. And those are the spots that are just blocking Drake Baldwin. And Murphy's a righty, so you're going to play him against lefties, obviously, and he's going to get, it feels like about 50-50 when it's a righty on the mound. So Baldwin, as a lefty, has the platoon advantage there, but Murphy holds his own enough against righties, and he's better with the pitching staff and some other intangibles that really only come into play when you're a catcher. You know, if you're like the Nick Allen, Orlando Arcia shtick that happened earlier in the season, Chris Sale probably doesn't really care if it's Allen or Orlando, right? But catcher, you have a rapport with the catcher. You know, Murphy has been around the block. He played last season. He played 2023 with some of the same staff, and that's a tough spot to put him in. And you can't DH Baldwin because you have one of the, 5 best hitters in the world over the last 2 calendar years in Marcell Ozuna. Like, imagine benching Ozuna. Imagine benching Murphy. That's a tough proposition. So Baldwin, that's what he's up against. But man, oh man, the batted ball stuff is phenomenal. I mentioned early in the season, he was getting unlucky. His week in San Diego and Los Angeles is the textbook example of trust the process, because everything was a hard hit out. Everything was right at a glove. Everything was a web gem, everything. And then he had one weak opposite field homer. His first hit was like an opposite field, like little bloop single. And then he had an opposite field home run that's like, how did that get out? And a blowout loss against Toronto. And it's just been off to the races since then. He's hitting 327, OPSing nearly 900, all red on the Baseball Savant page. The defense has been, I think, fine. There's some, because he's a split time guy, so there can be some variance there. But early on, he kind of got screwed because Braves pitchers can't hold runners to save their lives. So he was just not being able to throw guys out, but that's not his problem. That's a pitching problem. But he's just been on Fuego. But beyond him, I like Matt Shaw if you give him everyday plate appearance. Really, anyone with everyday plate appearance aspirations. Luis Angel Acuna hasn't really hit much, but he's playing every day. That helps because, Baldwin's going to have a limit on the number of plate appearances. He's only at 105.
Well, Acuna hasn't really played much lately.
Okay.
It's the thing.
I do think he has an easier path to playing more. I know McNeil is back, but...
And Beatty's hitting now.
Yeah,
so
everyone else on the list has more paths to plate appearances. Baldwin has to mash to get plate appearances. The other guys, Dylan Cruz has a runway in Washington, right? The Brewers can play their rookies. Other teams can play their rookies because they're not necessarily catchers. The Marlins, Augustine Ramirez, could just catch a bunch for them and DH for them. Baldwin just happens to be blocked by a good catcher and one of the best hitters in baseball at DH.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So,
Aegis Machauer would have been right there in conversation.
I agree. Yeah.
Before injury today. He's down at 5,001. So if you get a miracle news, he'll shoot back up probably to 2,000 because it's still probably bad news, but still.
Yeah. Baldwin, I think he really deserves playing time. But yeah, when you have a guy like Sean Murphy, who's also good, it does make things tough because it's not like you can necessarily label one as like the defensive catcher or like one is like the backup catcher. So yeah, honestly, it's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah. And the platoon works against them. Like if Murphy was a lefty and Baldwin was a righty, then you'd have a natural like Murphy would get like 2/3 of the starts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's with Baldwin being the better platoon option. He's great in pinch hitting situations.
Mm-hmm.
Come in for shortstop, left field. He came in as a pinch runner today.
That's interesting
because the Stuart Fairchild got hurt, so they had to insert Acuna. They weren't planning on playing Acuna both legs of the doubleheader, but yeah. So pinch running merchant, Drake Baldwin.
So I think the National League, we sort of have ironed out our field there. Let's slide over to the American League here, and I'll go to Alex here first. I think this is a pretty tight field, I feel like, but there is one guy who's sort of pulled away. So Alex, who's your AL Rookie of the Year leader?
Yeah, obviously my Rookie of the Year leader is Logan Evans of the Seattle.
Dude, I wish.
Don't worry, that'll be in my moment to myself. But no, Jacob Wilson has just been absolutely an insane baseball player. I mean, what more do you want from the guy? Defensively, okay. With the bat in his hands, you don't know what you're going to get. You are going to get anything and everything with Jacob Wilson right now at the bat. And I'm excited to see it. I don't know why, but like I still laugh at the fact of Jason Dominguez being rookie eligible, considering that I'm pretty sure I thought he was rookie eligible 3 years ago. But that's a different story altogether.
Came up in 2023, so yes.
It's 2025, my guy.
And he got Tommy John surgery, so
yay. Also, Jack Aguillon is right now currently fourth on the list here, and he's not even in the major leagues. So
yeah, I mean
that's fun.
I guess Roman Anthony plummeted. Man, that was
Roman
my preseason pick.
Yes, we're very well aware. Thankfully for you, you still have Witt and Judge for our war draft. But regardless there, I feel like this one is pretty straightforward here. Jacob Wilson is right now the AL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I wonder which intellectual individual picked him preseason.
I don't know. I don't know who did.
I think I did because the A's bang and Jacob Wilson bangs. The defense has been perfectly fine. It's been all over the place, frankly. He's had positive metrics, negative metrics. You know what? It's fine. He plays shortstop. Maybe he's the long-term second baseman. I don't know. He's 23. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He has 7 home runs. There were probably like smart books out there that probably had his over under at like 6.5 or 8.5 or 9.5. He didn't have any last year in 103 plate appearances. He has 7 this year in 223. Part of that is maybe being an A's merchant, but that's okay. His expected home runs is only 4.6, so not ideal, but he is what people want Luis Ariz to be. He has an extra tool. He's not just a one-tool merchant. You know, he's playing shortstop. That brings value in its own right. He's perfectly fine defensively, would probably be a plus second baseman or an average shortstop. You know, we take those. He's hitting for some power, not a ton of power, but some power. He gets to it despite the first percentile bat speed, sub 10% barrel hard hit, 11th percentile average exit velocity. But just a ton of line drives, like Luis Ariz, high batting average. It's not a fluky batting average. Maybe 353 is a little high, but a 311 expected batting average. And, you know, if it wasn't for Aaron Judge, we'd be talking about a rookie who might win the batting title. And you love to see that. He hits everything. I wish he walked a little bit more, but I understand with his profile, just you swing at good pitches and, you know, make good things happen. So, you know, you love to see it. I don't think he's going to have a 900 OPS for the full season, but if he hits like 320 with like an 800 OPS and plays solid enough shortstop defense, this is just a run-of-the-mill good rookie campaign. You'll love to see it. And frankly, the A's bang. Not much recently, but they tried to bang.
Yeah, you know, I look at Jacob Wilson's Baseball Savant page, and literally the first guy that comes to my mind is Luis Ariz. But like you
Yeah.
said, he can run a little bit. Granted, he's a little below average in sprint speed, but he's still faster than Ariz. And he is a fine defensive shortstop. You know, I'm not going to say he's a Gold Glover, and which come to think of it is crazy to me that his dad never won a Gold Glove because Jack Wilson was a great defensive shortstop.
Yeah, that was
Big
what he
Jack
was
Wilson
good for. That was the only thing he was good for later in his career.
I mean, yeah, he did win a Silver Slugger.
He had B-level power in MLB Power Pros.
Look, I know MLB Power Pros. He was
200 hits a
goated.
season. Yeah.
Also, by the way, Jack Wilson, if you ever see this, I do love you. You are a fantastic ball player.
Big Jack Wilson fan.
Yeah, honestly, no, I loved watching you in Seattle, even if it was batting 8th. It was still fun.
I'm trying to somewhere above my desk is my Jack Wilson bobblehead.
Nice.
But yes, Jacob Wilson is my Rookie of the Year leader. I mean, that's the thing is, yes, he does not walk, but when you're batting over 350, frankly, I don't care how much you walk if you're batting over 350. It's like the thing with Ichiro. It's like, Ichiro didn't walk, but he batted when you're batting 350 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Look,
I'm not expecting him to bat 350 all year, but even if it comes down to like even 310, like I think you're looking at a guy
season,
yeah. And the American League field is not like it's not a fraction of what the National League was last year. I say it's more on par of what the AL was last year. I think he hit 315, let's say, with an OPS like 780 or so, and you steal some bags. That's a Rookie of the Year campaign.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's stay in the American League for our next awards. The Cy Young. I'll go to Splash here first. It's a tight race, honestly, in both leagues. Who's leading the American League for you?
This is a brutal one. Scuba leads in the odds. I think Max Fried should probably be the leader in the clubhouse right now. If voting was done today, of course it's not. But Scooble does lead the world in pitching F4, which, good for him. So there's merit to picking him right now. There's merit to picking him rest of season. Max Fried is down in 6th place in the F4 conversation, but he has a lower ERA than anyone ahead of him. 7-0. His first 11 starts in the Pinstripes have been like just about perfect. I know Alex is going to mention a certain someone who unfortunately is not on this list. Where is Mr. Anthony Munoz? Andres Munoz, my bad.
Anthony, boy.
I am a football fan too. My apologies.
I understand.
Let's see. One thing that's kind of funny as I'm looking at your list, you're scrolling. Emmanuel Clase was mentioned before Andres Munoz.
Okay, that is an oversight on these betting sites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Andres Munoz, who I'm sure Alex will talk about here in 2 seconds. Also, shout out to Danny Coulomb, 16 innings, a 0.00 ERA. So good job for him. Fried's my pick right now. There is a caveat that maybe the rest of the season, Scooble's the pick, but if we were doing this pick through a third of the season, Max Fried is my pick. Then you have all the Texas guys have been spectacular, frankly. DeGrom has been, DeGrom. Evaldi has been awesome. Molly has been awesome. Chris Bubich, shout out to him. He was, a reliever last year for Kansas City, and he's just
I did have that one on my bingo card.
Yeah, that was not a bingo card, I don't think.
Rich Crochet's been great. My preseason pick, Hunter Brown's been great. Drew Rasmussen has been solid. Brian Wu's been the best starter for Seattle. Good for him. Yusei Kikuchi can't win a game to save his life, but a 3 ERA is nice. Shane Smith, shout out to Shane Smith. Max Fried is my pick right now.
Watched him yesterday.
Max Fried's my pick right now.
I'll go next here.
Yeah, go ahead.
On this. As much as I want to be funny and just say Andres Munoz, because 0 ERA still, we are a couple days away from June. 0 ERA. All I need to say on that. But if I have to give like a serious pick for me, I'm going to take the easy one out here. I'm saying Scooble. He had one of the most dominant starts that we have ever seen in the history of this game. That was not a no-hitter or perfect game. Here, a complete game Maddox here where he still struck out double-digit hitters. Here, like this was incredible. We have seen with Scooble, though, the only issue I have with him is that he is prone to the blow-up inning. We see a number of times where he has 1 or 2 bad innings here, and that will just ruin everything. But when he is on, it's really hard to get that inning here. So, I mean, as much as Munoz, like, I think going into this right now at this moment is in my opinion, the easy, reliever of the year. Skubal right now is a Cy Young.
Yeah, so I am going to be the one guy that does pick a Texas Ranger. My current leader is
If you say DeGrom, I'm going to hurt you.
It is not Jacob DeGrom.
Okay,
I have Nathan Eovaldi.
Okay,
I understand he did leave his last start early, which is unfortunate, but I'm looking at the league leaders in ERA. Obviously, Max Fried leads by a lot. Chris Bubic is second, and then Eovaldi is third. But Eovaldi leads the majors in WHIP. He has a better strikeout to walk ratio, considerably better strikeout to walk ratio than Bubic and Fried. His home run rate is low. It's only 0.5 homers per 9. And strikeout rate 27.4%, walk rate 3.8%. He's holding guys in check. He's not giving up the long ball. Overall, I mean, his FIP is also better than the two ERA leaders. His xFIP is also better. His Sierra is also better. I mean, I think overall, I'm looking at the most complete pitcher in the American League so far this year. It's Eovaldi. Just he doesn't have the wins to back it up because the Rangers offense, I mean, the Rangers already had to fire their hitting coach. So that's how things are going in Texas right now. So I think Eovaldi's the leader, and then Fried is probably my runner-up right now. But I say let's go ahead, move to the National League, and I'll go first here. I really wanted to pick Kodai Senga. He's not currently qualified for the ERA title, but he'd be leading the National League ERA title by a lot. I am going with his compatriot, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Boy, this guy has broken out this year. I mean, at least in the States, this is his breakout year. 1.97 ERA, 2.73 FIP. So he has been getting some luck, but I mean, that's still pretty good number. His strikeout rate is strong, 30.5% against an 8.1% walk rate. His opponent's batting average is only 169. This is a complete pitcher now. I had questions about him last year. He got hurt. He was effective when he was healthy, but he did get hurt. This year he's healthy and he's dominating his competition. So I think he's the easy leader for me.
That's fair. I mean, I'm going to go easy again. I don't care. I'm going Skeens. I mean, Paul Skeens is arguably right now the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, how young this dude is and how just straight up dominant he is. This is going to sound weird here, and I do apologize because there's a lot of problems with this comparison. This feels like watching Randy Johnson pitch when he was younger. Just absolutely dominant. A guy that I saw this on Twitter. I was scrolling the other day here. Paul Skeens pitches like he can see the ESPN strike zone right in front and is able to hit it like that professional dart player here. I don't remember what his name is, but the dude's a legend. I mean, what more do you want from a guy? This dude right now, I think the only thing I would want more is just the ability to go deeper into games a little bit more, but that's like nitpicking to reaching full arm into the bag, right? Like this dude, you watch him pitch one inning. Just watch him pitch one inning. Watch him pitch the second inning of almost any game. Let him get an inning to warm up in there. You watch that a second inning, and you will watch what people in the 40s would call a miracle, and what people in Salem years ago would call him a witch for. It's not fair to watch what he can do with a baseball in his hand. Paul Skeens, easy.
Fellas, can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Lizard Man?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, talk to us about Lizard Man. Yeah,
the Philly Magic is like all of inside of Jesus Luzardo. He leads the National League in F4 2.4 ahead of Skeens, F4 Merchant Paul Skeens, and Logan Webb. Shout out to Logan Webb. ERA for Luzardo exact same as Skeens. He's actually striking more guys out than Skeens. I'm a little surprised by that, but 10 plus Ks per 9 for Luzardo. His buddy Zach Wheeler got lit on fire today, 6 earned runs, but you know what? It happens. I'm torn. Skeens is obviously a great pick. Luzardo has been phenomenal. Yamamoto has a slightly lower ERA. Skeens has 11 extra innings, though. A little bit higher WAR. Wheeler probably drops below 2 WAR after today's blow up. But I'll talk about a couple guys who are right around that cusp of the innings requirement. You mentioned Kodai Senga there, Mac. Hunter Green has been excellent, 2.63 ERA. He's up among the leaders in F4. Matthew Liberatore, 59 innings. He is 7th in F4. Good job for him. Chad Patrick from Milwaukee is 9th in F4. Good for him, 57 innings. Tyler McGill, 53 innings. He's up there in F4. Nick Pivetta got annihilated. He had one rough outing against Atlanta. Felt like the entire world was imploding. Ben Kasparius in 35 innings has 1.2 F4. Steven Matz has a 1.91 ERA across 33 innings. Robert Suarez, reliever alert. He's been right there with Munoz from everything but ERA. So ERA, not a great pick, but otherwise they have the same F4, ironically enough. But my pick is the Lizard Man, Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, and look, I'll say this much. I kind of wanted the Mets to look at Luzardo because I thought he was a guy with plenty of upside. We saw how good he was in 2023. But, I mean, the Phillies got a great deal for him. I understand they gave up 2 solid prospects to get him, but Luzardo's I think now he's turned into the player the ace that we thought the Marlins had in him. But let's move. Yep.
For a little bit.
Yeah. Let's move over to the MVP awards. And we'll start the American League just because I think this is a pretty quick discussion here. There is one man who has 4.7 F4 already. He wears the number 99, plays for the Yankees. And he is batting .391 right now with a 240 WRC plus, 18 home runs. Yeah. Aaron Judge. Okay. If anyone doesn't have Aaron Judge leading, speak now.
No.
Okay. Actually, Splash, let me hear from you then.
So let's have the devil's advocate argument. Actually, how many games do you think Aaron Judge has to play at his current pace to win MVP? How many games do you
100
total?
120.
100? 100 flat?
120.
Okay. Just strictly from a war perspective, that's a scary thing. Bobby Witt's always going to be in these conversations. I feel bad because he's going to finish probably second. Kyle Raleigh is second in the American League in F4. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah. I was going
to bring him up
real
too,
quick
yeah.
here. What the hell is going on with these odds? Here, Cal Raleigh legitimately needs to
catchers.
Be like 2
that's
or 3.
that's the problem.
Makes it tough.
Alex
No,
Bregman
catcher makes
did a
even
great
more,
season.
like,
Shout out to Alex. Actually, he picked Isak Paredes in the war draft. Great pick.
He's playing well. Yeah.
It's almost like I figured out that the Crawford boxes will give him infinite strength.
And it's not even a 40 homer season. He only has 11. Cal has nearly double. Devers has more, but Devers is a DH now. Ryan O'Hearn, shout out Ryan O'Hearn. Byron Buxton is, doing Buxton things. We love to see that. But yeah, it's Aaron Judge. Bobby Witt's going to have a fun war season. He is on pace for another 8-win season. The list of guys with multiple 8 war seasons at shortstop, very short. Let me just put it that way.
He's young too. He's only 24. I mean,
he could have 20 war in 2 seasons. Again, the list of take position out of that because I don't think maybe Honus Wagner. That's probably it. Not even my Lord and Savior Arky Vaughn did that. 10 war twice is absurd, and Witt has an opportunity to do that, and he's like a 124 WRC plus this year. It's not like he's breaking the bank there. So it's Judge. He could probably lop off a quarter of the season like Ohtani did a couple years ago, and still win MVP.
I feel bad honestly for Witt at this point. Because he's right now getting to what the conversation that we had about Ohtani a couple of years ago here, that how is Ohtani going to keep winning MVPs, or how is Judge going to win MVP when the other is in the league?
Yeah,
at this point. And now it's like, how can anyone beat Judge for the MVP when he's there? No, the American League really has much of a chance unless Judge goes out for some reason. right? Not going to say anything, not even trying to put anything out there in the universe. Just, I got to say one more thing, guys. I'm going to bring back up the odds here that we can see on screen here. A $20 bet will get you 40 cents in profit. A $20.
It's crazy.
Just to give a little bit of like context, right? The second place view on this in Bobby Witt's $20 bet would get you $600. That it's so I'll say my piece on this as well. Yes, obviously Aaron Judge. Yeah. I want people to put more respect on Cal Raleigh's name. One thing that's interesting on this as well, Cal Raleigh is the best catcher in baseball, and there is 2 catchers ahead of him here in Logan O'Hoppe and Salvador Perez.
Yeah, I'm confused by that.
Yeah,
right
no.
now.
Okay. I have a counter to that because O'Hoppe and Perez aren't available on DraftKings, FanDuel, or BetMGM, so they don't have longer odds pushing them down. Cal does have longer odds pushing him down. You can get him at plus 9,000 on DraftKings, so he would be,
okay.
If you just sort by DraftKings, he is tied for third with Ramirez, Henderson, Langford ahead of Torkelson and the rest. Of the group. But fair. Bet Rivers, he's in a big cluster at 10,000 to 1, so he would be tied for fourth. But that tied for fourth comes with the caveat that Perez, O'Hoppe are also tied for fourth, and that's the only sites they're available on. Well, like Adley Rutschman is tied there, but you can get him for 25,000 to 1 or plus 25,000 on DraftKings. Duran's 20,000, Seager's 20,000 on FanDuel. So that's why the odds are different, because there's, one, like if you wanted to make money, if your goal was this guy is guaranteed to win the MVP, how can I make the most money? Raleigh, the most profitable bet for him actually exists on a different site, while Perez and O'Hoppe, it's only available on the one book.
Okay. So I'll say this. Then
that's the difference here. That's why Perez and O'Hoppe are, tied for fourth, and that obviously no logical person would pick that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll make my point of short and sweet here. Please give some respect to Cal Raleigh. I think that being a catcher is the hardest position to play in baseball. Every day calling these games here, working with all the pitchers here, and your knees will break. Basically, it's the hardest position to play, and he leads the American League in home runs. Yeah. Good for him. The dude is insane. He is the best catcher in baseball. He is one of the best hitters in baseball. He deserves more credit. But Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. And if any of you are baseball card fans, please make sure you hold on to any Aaron Judge cards you find, because the Topps buyback program will give you plenty of credit back at your local trading card shops.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing is Cal Raleigh, I think, is the runner-up right now. I mean, he's a catcher who is leading the American League in home runs, like you said, with 19. He has a 177 WRC plus, and he's played 54 games and has 3.2 Fangraphs score. Like that is on pace to be one of the best seasons by a catcher ever. So
it's fun to think about that he was put just recently on a list for in their first 53 games, right? The amount of homers that he has right now puts him in the elite company.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's
fun times.
Like, yeah, I mean, Roy Campanella. If you're mentioned in the same sentence as Roy Campanella, you're probably doing something right.
You're doing something very right. Let's move on to the National League then.
Yeah. So National League, I think, is it's a much tighter race in my opinion. Let's just go quickly here. Splash, I'll go to you first. Who's your National League MVP leader?
Should I just pull the rug out? Do I do that right now?
Yeah, sure.
It's Pete Crow freaking Armstrong, baby. We are talking about the best defensive player on planet Earth playing center field, and he hits. This is unbelievable. This is truly unbelievable. This is 20 years ago. Andrew Jones pulled this shtick off. He hit 51 home runs, and he was robbed of the 2005 National League MVP. Please, to anyone who's listening, our Lord and Savior Jesus or Jesus, PCA for MVP. It's 3 letters, just like SGA in the NBA. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. PCA, platinum glove in center field, a silver slugger out there with Tatis and Carroll. Or James Wood. He might get a Silver Slugger. He's been unbelievable. PCA,
Yes.
baby. Send it in.
PCA
Also,
is
Mac,
good.
shout out to Mac. You picked him in the award draft.
Exactly. I knew what I was doing.
No. There's another player here that is the best player in the National League. And I will also use 3 letters here, and it's usually what a lot of people put at the end of his name. SAN for Otani-san. Shohei Otani is just stupidly good. And you know what we're going to have probably sooner rather than too much later? Him pitching again. And so now we get back to what is the definition of the award. It is the most valuable player. And you get the player that, as a hitter, one of the best in baseball. As a pitcher, a dang good one as well. That's going to be an ace in most rotations. It's Shohei Ohtani. When he's pitching, he's lights out. When he's hitting, he's lights on. It is beautiful to see. And when his first pitches that he threw in the bullpen, in a simulated game earlier, he looks better than before even. This is going to be a show to watch. Pun intended.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to go with a different Dodger here. Partially, when you look at the Fangraphs WAR leaders, you have one guy who's played quite a bit fewer games than his teammates, and I'm talking about Freddie Freeman. All right, Freddie Freeman in 45 games already has 2.5 F4. He's batting .359, which leads the National League with a 186 WRC plus, 9 home runs. That puts him on pace. If you were doing 162 games, he'd be on pace for a 9-win season. And if you extract it out to even what the Dodgers have played, 56 games, he'd be at 3.1 F4, which is actually higher than Ohtani's. And remember, he has that sort of positional adjustment working against him at first base. So I give him the slight edge, but PCA has a ridiculous case right now. And as does Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani's Ohtani. And I'm sure he probably, once he starts pitching, he will lock this up. But anyways, those are...
Okay. Yeah. Just let me take a moment. PCA is on pace for like a 40-40 season.
Which is bananas.
While being the best defensive player on planet Earth.
I wish he walked a little more. That's all I'm going to say.
3.8%
walk rate.
Oh, God.
24% strikeout rate to 3 point. Look, he's obviously there's going to be some regression to the mean, but still, you're looking at a guy who's going to be top 10, I think, at least. At the worst, very worst, he's going to be top 10 in MVP voting this year.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. So I have the every game played setting. Can I get a... Ronald is on pace for 57 home runs. PCA, if he plays the rest of the season, 43 home runs, 46 stolen bases, which would be
pretty good.
I'm pretty sure if Cal Raleigh were on that same exact bit, we take a look at on pace. He's on pace for over 60. He's on pace for about 60.
and 15.
Yeah.
15 steals for a catcher.
15 steals for a catcher is ridiculous.
That's
Shohei would be 59 and 33.
Pretty good.
Famous carjacker, Reese McGuire, 73 home runs.
73 home runs. Look, he's Barry Bonds.
Yeah, he is Barry Bonds. Nick Gonzalez, 106 home run pace. I'm just saying, people
Nick
are talking.
Gonzalez,
Okay, I will give you 100 guesses. You won't be able to pick who's the number one in the rest of season or every game played WAR leaderboard for batters only.
No,
100 guesses, 1,000 guesses. You wouldn't get it. Richie Palacios.
Oh yes,
he's on pace for 22 WAR.
Yes.
Aaron Judge, for context, is 13.9. Cal and Ronald are 9.7. PCA is 9.1.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
That's Brooklyn native Richie Palacios. So always rooting for him. But anyways, let us know at LAR_baseball what you think of our current award leaders. Maybe you have your own. Let us know. Anyways, we're at everyone's favorite segment of every show. That's trivia. And Splash, I believe you have something for us, so take it away.
Yes, sir. All right. This is a simple one. There are 19 members of the 3,000 Strikeout Club. Just go back and forth naming them.
In general? Okay.
Yeah. Alex, pick a number between 1 and 10.
4.
All right, Mac?
7.
Answer is 6. So, Mac, go ahead.
All right. I'm going with the leader, Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan, correct. 57-14. Alex.
All right, I brought his name up earlier, Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson, number 2, 48.75. Mac.
I believe I'm going with number 3 here, Roger Clemens.
That is correct. 46.72. Alex.
Let's go with. Let's go with. Why am I blanking on like every pitcher who has ever played the game now? I always do that. I don't know why. I always as soon as we get into this, I blank.
Eric Bedard.
Guys, it's obviously Luis Castillo. Guys, please believe me.
Which one?
Yeah, Luis F. Castillo.
No, I'm gonna have the Luis Castillo. That's the hitter.
God,
Mets
dude.
legend.
Mets legend.
I'd rather not.
Let's go with. I'm trying to think that 3,000.
Imagine Aaron Judge came up at like 19 and had 3,000 strikeouts as a hitter in his career.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely.
All right, Alex, you're stalling. I got to go to work tonight.
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna go Koufax.
Sandy Koufax, not long enough of a career.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was just
all right, McCorkle, back to you.
All right, I'll go with an active player, Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer, 34.08. Alex.
Then let's go with also an active player. Go Justin Verlander.
That is correct.
Nice.
34.57.
I believe those are the only 2 active players.
Maybe not. Matt.
I'm going to go with Steve Carlton.
He's number 4, 41.36.
Oh.
I want to go. Do I want to go with just a really old name here?
Yeah.
I think I do. I'm going to go with. Wait, actually, question for you. Is this with only an MLB? As in, no, because I know they added the Negro League stats.
I can promise you there are no Negro League stats.
I was about to say Satchel. So
yeah, I wish. Oh man, that would be so cool. When I go to heaven, when I die, I'm just gonna ask God one question: how many batters did Satchel Paige actually strike out?
I want to know how old he was.
That's the only question I have.
Yeah.
That's the only question I have. Or how many home runs did Josh Gibson hit?
All right, I'm going to throw out just another really old name because also I want to get this going here too. I'm going to go with Christy Mathewson.
Christy Mathewson, not correct. Matt.
Oh, I think this guy pitched long enough in enough innings to get 3,000. The big train, Walter Johnson. 35.09.
Let's
go.
Alex.
Very, very nice.
Strike 2.
Yeah, I'm at strike 2, which is funny because strike 3 is a strikeout.
Yes.
So right now the strikeout leader is going to go to me because I'm probably going to lose it here with Felix Hernandez.
Not unfortunately, no. Mac, how many more can you get?
Actually, is there? Can I say one more name? That's also just for fun at this point.
Okay.
Here, can I say Greg Maddux?
Yes, Greg Maddux, 33.71.
Greg Maddux, John Smoltz.
76 pitch complete games, aka 4 innings for a modern pitcher.
Seaver, I believe, got 3,000. Right?
Seaver, 36.40. Any more?
Let's see.
Are they like
everyone else is on this? Everyone else on the list is a Hall of Famer besides one notable guy.
Pedro Martinez, I think, right?
Pedro Martinez, 31.54.
Yeah, Pedro's
one notable name, like Kurt Schilling. Yeah,
31.11, 31.16.
Wait, are the rest like old timey or like?
There are a couple players that were playable in MLB Power Pros. It's a good spread, I'd say.
Power Pros.
One reigning Cy Young winner in that game.
CC Sabathia. Duh.
Yep.
Oh, CC.
30, 93. One player who was a reliever at one point, which is unbelievable for him to be on this list. 100 saves in his career.
Hoyt Wilhelm?
No.
Like 100
saves? Come on.
It's not John Smoltz?
It is John Smoltz.
I said Smoltz like 3 times.
Okay, I didn't hear you. 30.84.
My bro.
Okay, rest of the list, Bob Gibson, 31.17. Fergie Jenkins, 31.92. The owner of the owner of Tony Gwynn, by the way. Phil Necro, 33.42. Old Nuxie. Gaylord Perry, 35.34. Don Sutton, 35.74. And Bert Blyleven, 37.01.
Wow.
Bang, that's it.
Very nice.
Innings eaters, man.
Yep. Greinke, just short. Kershaw is going to get it this year.
Right.
Cy Young, all the innings didn't matter. 7,000 innings.
He's a junk baller, man.
Yeah. Oh, Frank Tanana, good name.
Yeah, Mets legend.
That's a great name.
Tom Glavine, only 2,600. Bob Feller.
Yeah, not a strikeout pitcher.
2,500. Cole Hamels is Wow.
Chris Sale just hit 2,500 tonight. So
Cole Hamels, I did not realize had 2,500.
he was a good pitcher. He's a very good pitcher.
Yeah.
All right.
Braves legend.
Yes. How could I forget?
He made one start with it.
Rangers legend as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Cubs legend. Anyways, thank you for that splash. I am a big fan of strikeouts, so I do appreciate that. Anyways, we've reached the end of our show, which means it's time for the moment to ourselves to 60 seconds or so to talk about whatever the heck is on our minds. So, who wants to go first? All right, Alex. I'll count you down.
All right, sounds good. Just give me the go ahead.
All right, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I am going to talk Mariners today, and I brought it up a little bit earlier. It's about Logan Evans. So, for those of you that saw his most recent start, 8 innings, less than 100 pitches. I think it was at only like 80 or like 85 or so, something like that. And was pulled before the 9th inning in what was a 9-1 game here. And I can understand not going with him in the 9th. I wanted him to go in the 9th because I wanted to see the complete game from him. But if he's on a pitch count, that's okay. The problem became what happened yesterday. And yesterday, or day before yesterday at the time of this recording coming out, of him being sent down to AAA for Jackson Coward to come off of the IL. Now, I don't know what the plan is. I have a hope of what I hope the plan is because it's the only thing that makes me still have respect for the front office at this point here. And that is that you're only sending him down basically to rest for a few days here before bringing him right back up here and sending someone like Cower or someone else here getting DFA'd and then letting him continue on in the rotation. Because right now you still have some issues. You know Bryce Miller is coming back. But how do you take someone who just pitched 8 innings, less than 100 pitches, which, by the way, again, 100 pitches is like 5 innings at this point right now for a lot of starters. But he had arguably the most exciting start this entire season so far. And mind you, this is the first place ball club still right now. Again, may not be at the time of recording. Hopefully it is. Please beat the Nationals today. But I need it to be that he's going to come right back up as soon as he's ready to pitch again. Because if he's being sent down and no one is being moved around at all, there is a catastrophic issue. How do you take someone that just had a brilliant start, not just a great start, a brilliant start, and then say, yeah, you're not good enough to be on the Major League Club right now. We got better players than you right now. How can you say that after what he just did? No, you just can't.
Yeah, frankly, I was confused when I saw it. I know that the Mariners are activating Bryce Miller this weekend.
Yeah, I brought that up, I think.
And the unfortunate thing is I believe they can only bring Evans back up if there's an injury. So or you have to wait. You either have to wait 15 days or someone has to go on the IL, I'm pretty sure. So if someone is hurt or something, they can IL him. I know Billy Epler got in trouble for phantom ILing guys. So I'm not saying to do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, of course not.
All right. Splash, do you want to go next?
Sure thing.
All right. I'll count you down. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Hello. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm like the cleanest person in terms of like my room, right? But it was really nice. Last weekend, I took the time. I took basically the entire day. Like, okay, we're going to get the room clean. We're going to have it. Like, if I had to post pictures of my room on Facebook, I would feel okay doing that. So, I cleaned up my room and, it felt nice to live in. I wasn't living in squalor or anything, but it was nice to have things organized. It's nice to look over and my dresser is kind of organized. I use it, so it's not like perfect every single day. Like my water jug is up there, much to the chagrin of my grandmother. I have my drink mixes up there, like stuff I use, deodorant, keys, hat, not this hat, but my work hat. They're all up there. So, it's nice to be, doing better. I need to fold some laundry that I did. But otherwise, I'm feeling better. I have a hat rack. So I have 15 hats plus my 2 beanies up here. So great. One day I'd like to have a hat for all 124 Big Four professional sports teams. We are like 11% of the way there. I've either 13 different team jerseys and 14 hats or vice versa, but I have a spreadsheet now. So I might need to take a little chunk of my paycheck and start, get an A's hat or get a, Padres hat, the Big League Chew. They released some hats. A couple of those look pretty nice. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've been attempting to get this, or my parents and I have been attempting to get these. They're not command strips. They're like hooks you can hang hats on, but one of them keeps falling off. But yeah, I have a pretty extensive hat collection from starting with my siblings and then getting to me. Like, I don't know, every time I go to a new stadium, I feel the need to get another hat or something.
That's part of my goals. I do have like this hat rack that I haven't set up yet, but I want to buy a hat from every stadium here and then use that eventually to like make like standings here my wall here.
I know people that do that. Yeah,
I want to do it because I just think that's cool. Yeah.
Alex, tough question for you. I have to deal with the same thing when I start finishing my collection. How are you going to cross the Houston Astros bridge?
I have the same question about my own dilemma.
So my counter. So Mac and I, we have the same problem. Alex, you could get something from like the 90s or 2000s Astros.
You get like a National League Astros hat.
Yeah. Like those, they have some pretty sick, like a Randy Johnson. That would be a jersey, but a Randy Johnson Astros jersey would go really freaking hard. But like the Mets and Braves, they weren't in the same division, but they did play in like the 96, the 69
series. Yes.
And then of course we both hate the Phillies. So like the Phillies and Mets would be like, those are my last, like
I have a Nationals cap from,
I have a bunch of Nationals. I'm wearing an Expos.
I went to a Nats game. I went to my first Nats game in 2011. So I have that.
I might also be fine because normally I do like fitted caps for all of them.
Yeah.
And I might just get like the most beat up one I could find. Just be funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or an asterisk.
I have a Seattle Pilots hat somewhere.
Ooh.
I've probably long since outgrown it because I got it when I was like a teenager. So yeah.
Okay. Counter for Alex. Get a Colt 45s hat.
Ooh, that
45s would work. Yeah.
So you at least have like ways out. I have to physically purchase like a Phillies or Mets or Steelers or
or something like that. Yeah, it'd be
that one's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
so that's gonna be very tough.
All right,
Mac, your time, buddy.
Somebody count me down.
All right, Mac, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
So this weekend I'm going to the Mets game on Saturday and the Cyclones game on Sunday. Pretty nice having 2 baseball teams from the same organization in the same city. I'll say that much. My boss from Metsmerize is coming in for Maine for this. I blew off a swim meet in Connecticut this weekend for it, partially because the start times are bad. I'm not going to spend my Saturday and Sunday evenings out there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this weekend of sports. Hope the Knicks get it together because the 4 fouls in 12 seconds, boy, the NBA refs are really drive me insane. I'll tell you that much. But this is not a basketball podcast, but I could probably talk about that until I'm blue in the face. That the officiating has been kind of weird. But yeah, this could shape up to be a great weekend of sports. Haven't been to a Cyclones game in a while. I'll probably hit up Nathan's on Coney Island right beforehand for lunch. So yeah, that's what I've got. It's gonna be an interesting weekend.
Sounds fun.
Sounds like a very
How are we feeling about a potential Pacers Thunder finals? Other than you being emotionally invested in the Knicks?
Unfortunately, I think the Thunder would steamroll the Pacers, and it would not be competitive.
I will.
That's what I'm going to say.
I refuse to root for the Thunder. So.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, people from Seattle in general do not root.
Yeah,
or people who are Sonics.
Here's the thing, right? Like we joke about how much I am not a fan of the Astros. The Thunder don't even get me started.
That's a different level of hate.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
Like
they abandoned the city.
There's an emotional stab wound there. That is a lot more personal. So.
Yeah. Okay. So the classic, you have one bullet in your gun. You have, I'm blanking on the guy who moved the Sonics, but you have Jose Altuve and the guy who moved the Sonics in a building.
I'm not going to answer.
I'm not answering this either.
Okay.
Answer that question on stream. Sorry.
Okay. Fair enough.
Maybe afterwards we could talk about it, but not
okay.
right now.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Recording camera.
Fair enough. The option is always shoot yourself twice. I think
that'd be pretty bad.
You're only able to do it once before if you have any level of skill to you.
Good. Fair enough. You could Robin Hood the bullet.
all I saw when you said that was Robin Hood Men in Tights, where he shoots the arrow and it just goes flying through everywhere. Here, so I just saw the bullet going up and then just flying around everywhere before finally getting it in the head.
Who's the Marvel character that does that?
Hawkeye?
No, he just did the red. You know what? Marvel is not my strong suit. We need to cut this podcast.
I think we need to end the podcast.
Anyways, let's make sure to follow us though on Twitter. All of us, Alex at the Sports Guy 242, Splash at Mr. Splashman 19, myself at Mathias _A_K. And like I said earlier, make sure to follow us at LAR_baseball for our podcast Twitter account. We tweet all sorts of things. Make sure to like them. Maybe give us a retweet. Maybe reply to them. Tell us why you disagree with all of our takes. And make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. But for all of us at LAR, thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.